King here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome to a long-awaited tier list of mine, being the boys power scaling tier list, aka ranking the boys universe from weakest to strongest. Now, this tier list I want to do, but not only back then did I not have a fully, I feel like, best clear grasp of the power scaling, especially because I have not re-looked into the boys power scaling ever since my shameless plug, why Godric vs. Homelander is in close video, but as well, I haven't actually watched The Boys in a long time, and obviously, by the time that this is being recorded, Genevieve Season 2 is just airing and going about, not in the sense of just basically airing, but in the matter for, episodes coming out. We only have 4 episodes so far. The season is seeming high. I hope it lives up to the potential of Season 1. It doesn't drop the ball or pull back on things, but with that being said, though, right, I'm hoping all around the grand scope that shit comes together well, but as well, I also hope that new power scaling comes out within the show, but as well, greater with Season 5, so that there could actually be a whole complete tier list with seemingly the verse is over, even though there is still more to come out, most likely after The Boys is over, like possibly one more, maybe 2 more seasons of Gen V. I know there's going to be a spin-off show with Soldier Boy and someone like, the most mixed loved but as well hated character on a deep and same time fan love level in Stormfront, aka Liberty, being in the case of, Soldier Boy in the Liberty show, about how he started Herogasm, some other bullshit, even like different spin-off shows that involve the greater, I guess, kind of like quote-unquote expanded universe of The Boys in the show. You know what I'm saying? Kind of mixed mention, but as well because obviously even though the show is very much for good reasons demonstrably different from the comic, there is very much a level of the fact that the show differs in a lot of ways, so possibly making those things will be very weird. But besides the kind of like yapaholic nerd off of this being said, I'm here to give you, in my obviously, best, I feel like rational, solid, cogent evidence, opinion, why tier lists are the way they are. As always, kind of been missed. I did one of these. If you're new here, as always, please like, share, subscribe, comment, leave your opinion down in the case of the comment section down below. Hit the bell icon, really help me out so you're notified every time I make a video. And if you disagree full-heartedly with this video and would like to explain why, my Discord is RPKing3124. Please hit me up there. But with that being said, I also want to go and say thank you to Ty Learn and Mix of Key Issues for the greater case of knowledge that not only I've taken in Untangled, but as well, just in general, taking everything to be had. Now, as always, like I said, obviously there's going to be more stuff most likely happening in Gen V Season 2. Again, by the time I'm recording this, the season is not over, and I'm basing my opinion off pretty much what is shown not only at the end of Gen V Season 1, but as what is known here. As well, everything that is known obviously here. Season 5 is going to be coming out next year. We're obviously close to 2026. I want to also say rest in peace to Chance Bernardino, aka the person who played Andre. Rest in peace to him. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. It's a greater case of yapaholic. Again, don't want to go ahead and leave it too much of your time. For the bottom tier, as you see, we have question marks. There's no scaling. There's the base forms of a couple of different cases like mixed suits that obviously don't have no scaling. These are one-off people that don't have scaling, or it's kind of in the mix unknown, right? But you don't actually have any concrete knowing what they could do. Cypher's powers is a very mixed form possible power scaling determining, right? And it's not even greater shown to really actually say how powerful he could be, and or being very vague with a too powerful / weak to scale. Gecko's nothing, firecracker is shit, and Allie has a terrible superpower and it's very disgusting to think about, but that's the point, right? But and too powerful / weak to scale, start from the bottom. Sydney is a very weird character because physically it's mixed to know how really great or durable she is, but all different account, she's a very powerful, interesting person. Obviously, she was recruited in the possibly assuming Black Ops group of like Homelander. She's being sent out to do things that, public greater suits couldn't do, and doing different handy fuckover work to people. Sydney is bulletproof. She obviously has a capability to Sith Lord bust people open like grapes, but even with being bulletproof, she still could be taken out by obviously Stormfront. There's their perception thing. She's not in the speed scaling, and there's a level of like she could possibly, in a very 50-50 sense, blow up anybody and be very high. Like you could go very crazy, but I just think it's easier to say until greater stuff is shown, like it's Season 5 or maybe even Gen V Season 2. Yeah, no. Mindstorm, it's mainly what I'm saying, contact, and putting you in a nightmarish paradox of, your life. And this man, Mindstorm, really just needs to have eye contact to do that, which can work for anybody here unless they have, like, goggles, unless they obviously are blind or, very situational shit. And so, I don't know, physically, reasonably seen as a slouch, so there's that. Kate, her mind is one of the most complex, untamed, very crazy, not only astronomically wild to think about, because not only with physical touch, she warp you to not only her means, but also warp your means of power and direction, pretty much make you bloodlusted or not. She can force you to do things, obviously, but at the same time, she, in possible theoretical sense, when her stress factors, adrenaline, and is very hyperly, very unconditionally unstable with the case of her powers, where she can go fly off, the handle and utilize her powers to a crazy extent, and makes kind of showing, even if again it's very much contextual. Kate, not only, like I said already to rescind my statement, she can, like, do what she can do, how she can be very much crazed and mental, warping. She not only can divert you from who you are and make you spaz out and be like an Outlast patient, she could also theoretically cause everybody to go fucking ballistic and pretty much be akin to Purple Man or different mental destruction, or really pull little nightmares. So depending on, absolute Kate's power, she could really be something crazy. And she's already cracked if, like, physical touch would be a thing. Physically, she's not that super strong, so that's where the whole too powerful / weak to scale comes from. But, mental hacks, this has always kind of been a mixed thing depending on who we're talking about, in different mixed cases like precaution and talk. So, again, that's where it's kind of weird, because, again, mental hacks, she's one of the most unorthodox, crazy people that she can, go from all these different aspects of being just a one-off dangerous person in different contingent instances, but maybe in full potential could probably spaz and be what Mindstorm and other kind of mental factor heroes have shown to be, but on a very dominating, uncomparable, downright fucking psycho chick like essence. She could be a multi-form psych wave from Incredibles, my nigga. Like, shawty just ridiculous. So yeah, again, this is how she can, like, go about doing that, and different other stuff, that not only Kate, but other people can do, she could very much do. Now, Emma, aka Cricket, as a giant, aka basically giant woman, is very weird, because not only, like, in durability, she's never really been shown anything, she just gets very obviously alarmingly large, turns into the big monster girl, but was able to pin down Sam, and that's really all a greater take from that, and she's just not anything of greater, like, instinct regard to say beyond that. So depending on how you feel about that, she's able to pin down some of his strength. She could be very mixed high, she could be over other people. Her size can be very 50-50 to say, how other characters will be, and you just keep going and going, and you just get stupid. So unless something happens in Gen V Season 2, I don't really feel like this is the best, like, quantifiable thing to scale. And if anything happens in not only Gen V Season 2, I'm not going to redo this video. Just know in the long run, I'll probably make a new tier list, and it probably won't change too much, except for the predominant people in question. But yeah, but then you have this man, Butcher, with his hentai tentacles. It's very weird to say where he scales, not only because he killed one-off people, those mixed one-off people is in the instance of being Newman, at the same time, different people in random berserk shit. His tendrils could be very threatening to most different glorified different people, and there's a mixed argument because, he is fully, reveling in his V, inner turmoil, mutation, crazed monstrosity that he is, and fully going a more Eldritch route with his shit. He could be very high, but there's no real strong representation, and he is just feetless. Like, some people want to have him in like these tiers. Like, no, like that's just very goofy and weird. So again, waiting for The Boys season 5. Then human/civilian tiers would be self-explanatory. There's a possibility of fighting off against each other. Who has more knack for fighting, skills, capabilities, physically possibly being more better, 2v2. This should be very simple in the mixed category for the capabilities and fighting prowess that these people mixed bag have, right? And it's just taking it from, again, who dishes out more of this, who's done more in the physical prowess, skill, should be simple, Mother's Milk and Butcher's kind of contingent. MM is very confident in beating Butcher, and Butcher knows that you probably, give him some beats. So, you could argue all day who you think is better, but I mainly put these people in a mix different, very much more proud physical showcasings, and an argument for their personality and obviously combat training, and that's the reason why this person is over. Blind Spot should be better by what he showcased while being blind and basically being the Boys Daredevil. Gunpowder for being one very wicked marksman and shooter, having multiple different guns he could use, should be better. And then Ryan should just nag because literally nobody here can hurt him. So there you go. Now it's a little bit different with Blue Hawk up in superhuman tier, as he's like bare minimum like superhuman, and Ryan is still a kid. And again, this is base, just what he could base do. So there's a level of like, I don't know, he's a little bit kind of weird and iffy to really qualify for if he would beat Blue Hawk or not. You could say that he doesn't. The TNT Twins are able to stun his grandpa, so they could knock him out. Ryan is very, makes it say he's like feetless, doesn't have really anything except for when he's bloodlusted. Then Crimson Countess would one shot most likely these people in mixed scenario, and what her blast is, it seemed to be like some atomic, almost seeming bomb in scale to just again burst people open like cherries. But this random just fling of big red bazooka bomb, again, the general casual being, mixed humans or mixed case amount of, reaction speed is what these people most qualify for. So I don't really say they're getting around. All these other people don't have normal human reaction speed. They at least scale to people that would scale to a higher argument echelon of stuff, or mix argue, or more durable than this shit. Like they take like more than like what that would be a wall level attack. Like that's just wall level bare minimum. So yeah, like so Huey not only would mix bag possibly able to get around that, but he also, because obviously he can teleport, just get in and around that. There's people that try to like put Huey on Temp V a lot more higher than he could be. Like, oh, if no one can fly, he should be able to like fly them up in the air, and obviously they would die. But not only Huey is never showcased like Nightcrawler and can teleport that wildly, it's never been shown that he can just whatever fucking teleport. He's not as in-depth and understanding of his powers. He's not physically in greater A strong. He doesn't scale very much in greater form to the greater speed scaling. And there's a level of aim dodging with like the heat vision of this man, Homelander, regardless we think that's like a light speed attack or whatever. And then it's just the fact that like he's a very mixed person. I was very close to putting him in question marks as no skin because he really doesn't have anything. But I like to give Huey some boast of being something a lot more higher claim, but that's just the reason why all these other people up here should just not only scale a lot more higher, but as well just have better feats and showcasing the power scaling system is a lot more here. So Roland's super got a lot to say about this. So Mary and Base is like bare minimum here, right? She not only was able to at least stand up at some different physical occasions against others, taking blows that others in comparison couldn't survive them, do a lot more. She's decently, resilient and physically not too unimpressive, but not the most dummy impressive person. What puts her lacking and at the bottom here, and obviously other people's not like in physical mixed fighting, she's at least somewhat of decent capability. She's able to hold off this man Dog Knight decently, obviously. And very much contingent, contextual type of scenario. I would say that she would just be more objectively durable than these people here. Because around this, beat them down. It's more the consistency perspective. Andre, he took way more heavier blows than her. So they were just fighting heads up. I believe that he would beat her. Again, RP to my man, RP to my big nigga Andre, you know what I'm saying? Man died so young. But then you got my man, so I grew up, Jordan, in this case, right? Jordan not only physically could better contend and make different sets of like blows from not only Sam. Golden was ranked higher, and there's a level of the ranks obviously being just more circling on popularity, you know, what best can be for advertisement and like power, you know, demonstration. But Jordan did do a lot more efficient and hand-to-hand stuff, and you know, someone like Marie, even though obviously this is her lover, this is her, you know, boo thing, this is her husband, where the fuck, she does say that Jordan would just be all around over her, and that's mainly from like a base stand. So Jordan would just, I feel like, quadruple them, especially in like hand-to-hand combat prowess. Like, I just believe Jordan will beat him. Now, Dog Knight is physically and what he's showcased to be, I think will probably all-around best him. He just seems to be like a all-around greater physical prowess dude, and seems to be like some low-end stance of like almost some discount Jacob from Twilight, and like a mixed essence of like being that Craven Hunter like vibe. Not in like saying as like his name in the same stance, but more like being on that lay of like that Craven the Hunter level altitude and mixed scale, and being on that essence of like Craven Hunter level, you know, of efficiency, where not only with his nose tracking superhuman capabilities, he very much could get around any of these people's mixed deceptions or fighting abilities, catch these people lacking, physically just outdo them, scaling to obviously Mary, and most likely in comparison with the people that Mary's going to take this from, and what's more chronologically consistent, I would say that end all be alls makes this nigga be very much strong to say to be beyond him. But again, that's that. Andre with his magnetism. Now this just means in any like contextual scenario where he's able to use his greater, you know, obviously magnetism, metal manipulation, you know what I'm saying, capabilities, metal bender, right? This would instantaneous to me very much conclude that he would be in any context better than every from a person below, from everything he could use, his weaponry, mixed with his durability already being strong, and not having to go, you know, toe to toe with somebody as strong to arguably makes better stronger. That would just conclude him being better. Now Mary with her power should obviously just be able to get around his stuff, out hacks him. You know, hemokinesis, aka blood bending, should just put him out of commission. And Jordan already being, again, physically stronger than both of these people, using obviously basically force shockwave capabilities, should just be able to step over them a lot more better. And I think these would not only put them out of commission, but this stuff already makes her slash him, aka they, just saying, right, it makes Jordan way more around better than them in comparison. So that easily just slates them, you know, is way more higher. Now Starlight in base, not only is she a very skilled, solid fighter, right? She got some hands, but she's just been able to take a lot more better stuff, been able to take things for a better time, been able to scale mix back to Black Noir, who makes scale to Kamiko, take blows from someone like, you know, Stormfront, has better consistency, and this is, you know, post season 3, makes argument for being the strongest you can mix argue she's ever been. But again, it's a very much big contextual sense, so I feel like it's pretty much evident that she should win, and she should be able to get around these other people's capabilities. And again, it's just mainly in the mixed talk of, you know, greater home skills and this more concrete, more very much congruent take of scaling that's, again, a lot more consecutive, to say the least. Starlight, though, in base with season 4 is always kind of mixed take person. Obviously, in base, she's still got very much refined skills. She's better, older, whatever you maybe might want to say. But because there are stress factors, a lot of, you know, plot contingent, you know, scenarios where not only does she have a lot of shit holding her back from greater pulling things, she also just has a very much mixed level of she is not the best prone to pull out greater moves with her not only light powers, because unlike at the beginning of the series where she was really raging with that shit and really could be out here on some Super Saiyan level mixed stuff, she can't really use her powers to the same efficiency, or if she tries to the best degree, they don't work to the best sentiment, because simply put, they don't sting the same level of either very much big plume bust shock, or she doesn't have enough electricity around to do anything that she's doing. She doesn't have a greater usage of power. But she's not only very physically strong, she's very physically adept. And I just feel like that would just still solidify her as being a lot more higher. Now the deep, even though again mixed contextual makes sense and a lot of different mix. Again, like I said, for Starlight of season 4 has a lot of different mental and spiritual mixed pullback on her being, fucking up with her powers and some mixed plot talk. So the deep, even if he might not seem like the most strongest nigga, even though he very much showed out in season 4, he got an upgrade. He is very much way more stronger in physical prowess. The deep is a supe for a reason. He is greater than her people. He has took a decent matter of blows, and even though the deep, can get watched in different instances, Gills is his big weakness. The dude is still very much a efficient seaman brawler, so he should just outbox, neg, and dominate through a lot of these different people's stuff, and in a lot of the situations that's be able to get around. I know that his personality and other shit might kind of put him a little bit off base, but the fact that he's able to hurt Starlight and they scale to a higher echelon of shit, regardless of the situational contextualness of these people, or the mixed argument that he's not as much of a skilled fighter as this person, or again, I'm not saying he's entirely dominant than all these people in mixed physical boasts. That would just be more proud, present capability with him, to say the least. But Jordan, on the other hand, as a guy, aka, his tentacle base, right? They be out here throwing hands with some motherfucking gorillas. Jordan is like the thing, resilient, sturdy, stone cold. Okay. Jordan not only be rocking with Golden Boy, and he was able to take his blow, he's able to take different hits from Sam, he's able to take pushback, he's bulletproof, very efficient, crazy, not only I feel like a proficient fighter, he got great heart, and he really do slug. Shout out to the actor that plays him, right? But I just believe that would easily just count him out as not only being way more durable than whatever these people could possibly bring, but would just push past. And he just showcased multiple times that his hide is pretty much just like I wouldn't say like a Teemo version of translucent, but like an underform coming up there translucent hide, where he's just a living shell and will bring the beat down on some Raphael shit. And he was actually slugging with Golden Boy, and it wasn't for Golden Boy's, obviously very much more superior physical prowess, powers, and the fact that Jordan mentally mixing up on the powers, and just the fact that obviously Golden Boy is just all around a lot more unstoppable person. I mean, he is easily at a time the strongest soup at Kadoken. He would just get all around a box. But the fact that Jordan gave this man the greatest fight that he ever possibly had, just solidifies him as being way more powerful. It's not even a conversation. But yeah, but then Starlight with her powers, again, season 1, season 3, right? She would be just better, not only because of her physical skill, but she would just blam these different people, outdo them, fry these different people in greater high intensity, regardless of the situation. She can deliver very much on a lot of her different coasts of, power. She can very much, not only in every capacity, outdo, hack different people. She's way more skilled, capable, and tied with actually having powers. Her already argument for being a skill advantage over these people will now fully seize her to dub. Now, in Starlight, in season 4, she is very much contingent on her mixed tentacle younger slash, season 3 self, as even though, yes, this is at the beginning, possibility this is when she fully comes into her powers, this is when she full livid, Captain Marvel, Super Saiyan, Twilight, living Starlight, not the same level as actually being a whole star bazooka level of light, I'm talking photon rays, I'm talking plasma bolt level of kind of wildty, you feel what I'm saying? This shorty Starlight, right, literally in every case of the way, as a being, literally at this point can fly, has all different type of crazy ways to use rage. She seemed to be more physically adept and violent already, which, clears her of her season 3 stuff, but again, without using the powers, and again, already having just as much to mix whatever you want to stretch, physical prowess in regard, would very much solidly count her as being, to me, with her powers in full use, to outdo the case of everyone, below very much casually. Now, Kamiko, multiple case of reasons for why she's here, obviously. Shawty is a demon. Shawty's regeneration is crap. These people would have no way to figure out how to kill this woman. not only do you have the strength to possibly, I don't know, try to pull a decapitation or anything like that, but not only did she scale to way more higher people, she took better blows. She's able to take on way greater things, stand tall, vengeful, efficient, every aspect of demon, started to move like an actual tingle demon, craziness, sense of different shit. Kimiko is with this shit, right? You know, she really got that not only unprecedented dog, but hungry, fucking wounded lioness. She will devour half of this tier easily. I think the only people that would have a problem with is obviously the superior high, because like for instance Jordan, you know, you could argue is still more durable, but not only is Kimiko very much skilled like a motherfucker, especially when she really get in her zone. She's brutal as fuck. These people have a lot more openings to say their durability and could just all around mix up collaterally. I feel like dissect them best. I think the only real problems would be, yes, indeed, there is a level of a lot more of a physically dominating force with some people, like, I don't know, the Deep, Jordan, and the Power Star would be crazy, but the thing is that they can't kill her, and I believe she'll wear them down, she'll outlast them, and just pit for pit. I just think she'll get the ups on them. Plus, this is also showing that not only Starlight never really had the goal of fighting against, she just fought technically with. And I feel like Kimiko could just fuck her up in ways that Starlight couldn't, because nothing Starlight throws at her is going to kill her. If anything, it would even like pierce her skin, wouldn't penetrate her. It would very much hurt, but a lot of the time Starlight doesn't kill people through actually full fried beam. It's more just high intensity harm and scar, and it can lead up to that. So if you want to argue that she could get like a full concentrated beam and fry her, maybe, but I just see Kimiko being a lot more higher. Jordan would need to, like, I don't know, smush her. Same thing with Deep, and it goes all the way back to like fucking something like this man Dognut. Right, it's wouldn't be possible. And again, nigga was getting outdone by Mary sometimes. So even though again he got that essence of, like I said, on that Craven Hunter type timing, in any essence of, you know, a demon prowling dog level, I guess, tenacity. He ain't no Jacob from Twilight level wolf. He not Saber Wolf, right? He not actually Craven the Hunter where he full living off of the most archaic Compound V magical fucking crack cocaine. He on that cocaine, you know what I'm saying? He not on anything of that sort. So like, nah. Anyway, Sam is where the power scan is a little bit weird. Sam most definitively should be higher. Not only like was he said to be physically decently as strong as Luke, he's very strong. He basically was the enforcer of Kate. He was seen as a very strong, capable boy, right, to pull things. He's shown very ridiculous physical prowess. He's shown things that are way below, you know what I'm saying, right, the case of a lot more higher people in Jules, but easily should be sticking as very much high wall level and decently dish at like small building level to a bare minimum, which is where a lot of more consistent these low end soups should scale to. And Sam not only has professed to be able to outduke any of these people physically and put them on their butt, and it wasn't for the mixed contextual context and it's kind of more rabid dog essence. If he's just trying to go about full fighting and throwing hands as he's shown the capability to, he could rip a lot of people in half. And so I believe that just going for the kill, he would kill these people. He would choke them out. He would crackle them like water bottles. He would crater these people. I think he would put the fear of God into the Deep. Jordan can't best him. He knows that. Multiple times he's been pretty much walked down by Sam. Andre, even if he was able to push him off, still got bested basically. He couldn't even, you know, possibly kill Kimiko at face value, but I do think he's one of the first few people that, if he really was trying to, he probably could actually entirely Shao Kahn Mortal Kombat rip Kimiko in half. He obviously wasn't fazed by Kimiko when she hit him with that right hand, and she was restrained. She couldn't do anything. So yeah, nah, like, there's no way. Luke not only physically should be way more capable in capabilities, fire body wise, he's just a lot more hardcore of a capable individual. Physically and skill, he is very much there. He was strong as Kadoken. Was said, even though obviously it's about popularity, status, and hiatus, he was seen as a guy that has so much potential. He could be on that Homelander, maybe get a Sting. But to me, he's basically like a lamplighter in a more passive, instinctual sense. And I think the fact that he's mixed bag older, which shouldn't always constitute, who's greater and all that. I just think that he would give his brother a great run for his money. And, Sam said that, there's no way somebody could kill him because he's so strong. Now, granted, this is his brother, so you could say it's biased. And Sam, not trying to be mean, the man is a very wild cat. The man is schizophrenic. The man has a lot of arguments to be clinically not the most, mentally sane individual. His mental health is absolutely atrocious. But hey man, the fact of the matter is that Luke has a lot of narrative statements to be higher than any of these people, and hey man, I don't really see how Sam's gonna beat him. I definitely think it'll be a long fight because Sam is basically like the Hulk of Gen V, but nah, I don't really see how it's gonna work. Now, Kenji is made from a lot of the context that his telekinesis could take him a long way. He did put Homelander under some dirt, and he did give him, I wouldn't say scars, but he did give him some knack of actual press. He was able to not only drop a great deal of blows to other people, move around people, bring harm to Kamiko. He has a lot of contextual scenarios that give him a lot of prowess, but put him in a scenario, I do think he can get around. Now, physically, is he very strong? No, he is not strong at all. So, again, if he gets hit once by these people, it would be GG's, and I was kind of mixed on putting him in too powerful / weak to scale, but again, Kenji, with the right scenario, could absolutely trample these people and more or less subdue them. I do think there's an argument he cannot physically kill these people, but if he's able to actually put Homelander under a great deal of shit, I'm not saying he scales to him, but the fact that he was able to pull something like that, he would be able to somewhat like just outdo the people. So give the right context, aka give the open field of advantage on both sides, I think he would best. I definitely think him fighting like someone like Andre would be very interesting, but yeah, I think Kenji should just be beyond, to be honest. Now, Lamplighter, right? Lamplighter, based with a fucking lighter, like literally just a lighter, would have the capability to absolutely fry chicken anyone here. Like, they would entirely get not only full scorched, cindered, blazed, and that's all from the fact that he has a very strong building level calc, right? So anyone coming up near, again, very much contingent scenario, should get burnt. And Luke, like, he literally just give him a fire. So I don't even know how their fight would go. That's the most like Pokemon-esque scenario, but I think it's undeniable that he just has a higher bear in mind calc. So depending on if you think Luke just radiates fire and it gives him a boost on his stuff and mix back someone else's fire, he can't take, unless you want to play the argument that they're just both going to cancel each other out. It's just that, but just who's more higher from like a calc perspective and what's more consistent. A Lamplighter should be like that. So yeah, he's there. Now, Married is considering post season 1, season 2 as well, and her kind of like pre-mastery of dang near red, Bloody Mary sauce like no other, where she's over here coming out to become basically Katara, busted as shit, a fucking bloodbender, Scarlet, bloody rich, full fantastical, wild Escobar of being able to diabolically dominate and dissect a person's entire blood system and entirely annihilate them in ways that could even be comprehended. Not only is she able to sense in a lot of different occasions people's blood and mix them up and most likely fuck them over, but she could pull greater acts that just in blood usage could bust people open, could harm people in a lot of ways. She can uniquely use her powers. She can obviously control blood in all different interesting forms. The more she gets damaged, the more possible blood she can use. She can do a lot of crazy things. Again, she's very much in these mixed durable stands, and when she has decent, somewhat mastery of her powers and better commission, she's not only a very versatile person, blood queen, but again, like I said, when she really get in touch with the better Bloody Mary full bloody sauce, you know what I'm saying, she not only can put the beats in people in so many crazy essence of ways, but basically be out here like a fucking bloody red lantern, right, with no repetition, being a absolute, fucking harborer of death in every waking instance, and could fuck you up. And I don't want to be that guy, but there's an argument that literally everybody here, unless you're debatably just inadvertently faster, have higher AP, and makes propose the fact that you just physically are of, a better argument, you know what I'm saying? Of like capacity for existence and anatomy. She could solo down an entire thing because you could even counteract what she does. Now, granted, we're using more or less her personality, not like the bloodlusted kind of Azula, bloody rage, Amp Katara perspective. But again, I think she'd just be reasonably here because she could just use too much. And she's very adept with her powers, and she could do a lot of crazy shit. Her mind is something unparalleledly terrifying with this blood magic capabilities that she holds. Her endokinesis, aka, blood manipulation, is so astronomically warped and makes mind to be in a lot more pacifist stage. But with the fact that she is very much seasoned with her capabilities, and I wouldn't be surprised throughout the rest of the season she showcases that she still can control it. She could do very crazy shit and be very much like a Tara Blood moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, Shorty is very much crazy. I mean, it's undeniable that Mary will definitely, in the end of like the Boys saga, be one of the most top tier heroes, and she could easily be up here, you know what I'm saying? She could be up here at shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, some joke shit. Obviously, I'm joking. Love the actress, love the character, but she very much has so many creative proportions to be a very much high, complex precedent of, power and stuff. So, it's something, take in mind. But Starlight charged up, again, booming with actual Starlight power like never seen before, could absolutely full boom boom bong everybody into next week. Not only with this power do I feel like there's no real reason to say anybody could either survive the sheer not only gargantuan bazooka force that these people hold, but just with sheer lighting up the stars, ready to walk everybody with the fullest amount of power that she has. This isn't a limiter. This isn't a one-shot go. This is basically saying she is charged up. I'm talking she is using every aspect of her light, and she is dishing it out to the highest capacity. This is literally, in this case, a full-fledged, literal hyper bazooka blamming beam that is able to not only in this physical prowess knock everybody out and or absolutely fucking dump them with a hyper bazooka ray that's able to entirely RPG MC30 just flatline anybody, but I think in every capacity could just plume off and be way more faster than anyone here, or they couldn't even comprehend, to the point where these people get absolutely destroyed. Because even if you don't perceive Starlight's light as actual light, especially with the mixed perception for how she actually utilizes her power, she still, with the speed scaling, should just be entirely a hyper greater essence of stuff, and everyone else, you know what I'm saying, either in the mixed contextual sense, could be mixed back higher, kind of somewhat scale to, another, and or could just dish out their shit a lot more faster and capable, right? So, again, she fully booming fuel with the power of pretty much seem like 1,000 suns raiding in that glory foul, century level puff of power, should just entirely, in every case of the way, be way too fast, way too out of these people's league, and just drop too much of a hypershock bust bomb at people and leave people knocked the fuck out or entirely whop of almost a fucking skin. I'm talking, this should be almost akin to a Banshee level thump of the body. I mean, the way she knocked this dude Soldier Boy back, which is a greater feat than anyone below, to be honest, should just instantly solidify her as being a whole hyper dump truck of power right there, especially like Mbak, and he could get it. That's all I gotta say. But trick aside though, nah, like that should be G's. The only way I could possibly feel like Mary getting around that is you think she control her blood before it even generates. But I even argue that very like argument of like the anatomy thing, where she's built up with so much electromagnetic light blitzing force that at this point she would be so much harboring of so much wacky things that Mary could not utilize her blood magic, aka basically Whoppy do blood manipulation sorcery against her in the same essence. And there's an argument that she'd be moving so fast with all this charged up power that again she would most likely get entirely split before she could even do anything. Now Black Noir, too fucking durable for any of this. His mixed bag of durability would probably be a little bit too much for Mary to try to get around, and his skill, accolade, easily, I would argue, was like top 3 of the 7, and was very much powerful, was the second most strongest of Payback, and Black Noir just got every argument for being a very up-formed dude. I ain't forgot about fucking Black Noir too, but that nigga barely got any grass go kiss feet, bro. That nigga fucking whole waist, man. Right? He's a built different dude entirely, and so yeah, I should full slate him as just being way greater than any motherfucker you could ever think, right? You have a lamplighter, right? With his fucking lamp, aka actually utilizing a greater force of power. Not only within speed should now he be a higher potency and blister of his capabilities, but he could just use a lot more. He's able to turn grandkids to ash, do a lot more crazy case sensitive shit, and pull away greater shit than you could ever imagine, and absolutely wreck house. I also just think with this lamp, there's a lot of argument that he can make a form of cover debris and kind of just blizzard too much of this shit and Zuko any nigga coming near. So yeah, simple as that. Next you have translucent, not only because he's invisible, his hide is thick as diamonds allegedly. Nothing could pierce his skin. They need to shove something up his ass to kill him. And the fact is that a lot of people just in season 1 estimate that he's very much more greater powerful. Now I know what you guys are gonna say. Oh well, Marie was able to pique, his son's heart and use it against him, but estimated to hit him. Now if she could really use a case of her mixed blood sorcery slash manipulation on him, aka I'm just gonna call the case of hypnosis, if I'm even saying the name right, aka just blood manipulation and fiction, right? To not only burst him open or affect him inside out, maybe, but there's still a reason why I put him over is not only because durability wise he should be higher than both of these two, because not only can these things not hurt him, right? In mix of not only the thump, it most likely won't hit him because she can't see him. Same thing goes here. He's higher than these people. He should physically outdo them. If you say that physically, he's being hurt, mixed bad by Billy Butcher, right? There could be a mixed argument that in greater sense he can be hurt, but not to a heavy regard. So even though I'm not gonna lie, that is a little bit of a backpedal inconsistency. He's more stronger than his son reasonably by just the people he's banged out with to some extent. He's way more greater. He was beating the fuck out of Butcher, and Butcher mainly did a disorientation mix hack to get out of dodge, and even then Translucent was beating his ass. He also seemed to only have an intrinsic form of weakness to electricity akin to Sam, and it seems like people of this capacity already have so much of a thick overarching hide they can't be hurt. And again, she maybe might be able to sense where Translucent is and Mary, but she can't utilize a greater deal of her stuff because not only is his skin way too thick and capable, but it just couldn't work. And even with her greater stuff, I think it's very much contextual to see how that might play. And she's definitely not a master of her stuff. Again, she has very much wicked proportions, but I just feel like Translucent, by all the scaling, all the naming, all the stamping, everything that's been said, even though yes, he's only been in 2-3 episodes, the dude just got way more better arguments to be where he's at. And objectively, the brother is just higher. He's just higher because of the fact of everything I just said, but just every aspect of his being is objectively way more rationable than, again, Mary, yes, being here from having a great collective showcasing to do blood manipulation very crazy, but it's not to the same level as Newman, who should easily be here for very much obvious reasons. Now, her power is more than just looking in somebody's eyes and blowing up their head like a fucking big ass yogurt cup. It's the fact that, again, Newman is able to blow up people's heads in different crazy ways, right? She's not only able to blow up people in multiple different forms than just the head, right? And can pretty much entirely obliterate, bust people open, bubble up a volcanic eruption of blood, burst people to shreds. She can see through people in a way and utilize blood magic allegedly to the same extent as Mary. and could see people in a way better regard, and unless again you were beyond her comprehension, makes more physically durable, and then there's a level of defective, like, a different heightened sense of like where this person might be able to stand, is where differences also, like even like the speed of just in comparison to attack. So again, I can see Newman doing that to Translucent because she understands that better. Mary doesn't always do that, and it takes a great deal of like mental perspective. And even with that mental perspective, she doesn't entirely beat down the heart, and there's people that also just physically are greater, stronger, and could push past that. So that's even like another argument why like Black Noir, Lamplighter, again, mainly because the cover is there. Starlight is Translucent, again, physically durable, way too much for her. Her greater blood, manipulation is very much a mixed kind of 1.5, 50-50 mixed demonstration. And to be fair, the show isn't over, so again, I will probably change my mind on this, but that's kind of just where I stand. It makes a reference for that. But again, enough said on this. I kind of been on this for way too much, even though again there's a lot to be taken in, because that's the greater like whole of like the tier. This is half of the most predominant, boys people. But mid tier Super Zuri, just A-Train from his times and events from season 1 to season 3 in base, his base form from season 3 to season 4, and what he can do with his new heart, his legs back capabilities, his new ticker, all that. This is him on Compound V and just blitzing to better capabilities. Not only in speed, perception wise, he's beyond everybody here, but there's every argument to say that he would reasonably be just way beyond. Now I know that obviously when he's coked up on Compound V, he should be a lot more higher, but the fact that he's able to scale over some mixed bag people and others in comparison that actually scale to someone that's able to go beyond the speed of the mixed light perspective of Starlight, the fact that from just a perception thing, he would just be a lot more higher and crazy, and he could just do a lot more. And even if he's on Compound V, he's so fast that presumably he could just do whatever he can to fuck these people up, beat him down, plunge his hand down Translucent's throat, and do all this other stuff that doesn't even matter. And yeah, like it would just be entirely a domination. It's not even close in any capacity, regardless if you don't think he's crazy light speed or something, or being this or being that. Just in general, most different forms of perception and general convictional speed, as there's a mixed level of, even though somewhat they do mixed bag scale to the mixed argument of the different speed scaling, he does scale somewhat to this as well. If you go by the argument that he can face somebody that's able to beat somebody, that also scales to this, because actual powers, this motherfucker should not beat. But in perception of actual fighting, and then moving around these powers and what they, utilize, he should just be beyond. There's just no way he should be able to get hit, and he would just scale monumentally beyond. I mean, the dude's able to do things that not even some other people with mixed perception should be able to take on, and that's mainly a lot of what he has. So again, depending on how you perceive it, there's a level of the durability thing, but the fact he's able to hurt the deep, he's able to hurt multiple different mix of the contingent, makes people in some different capacity. He's able to do pretty fucked up shit to Blue Hawk, and I do think if he just grabs somebody the same way he grabbed Blue Hawk, did that, and then went about skinning them with that speed, and the fact that it seems like, again, maybe you can make stretch headcanon that with his speed he does accelerate in some aspects of AP or capability, or could do very crazy shit. He would be able to pull axe speed, because that whole kinetic energy thing, like busting somebody open to that extent, literally went about busting somebody open like a fucking pinata. So one of the most craziest scenes ever depicted within the fucking boys, bro. The nigga should just entirely body anybody if he really wanted to. And the only reason why I'm greater at explaining this stuff to the same capacity that I might explain some of the different regards, not only because I feel like a lot of people who have different arguments say against these people in a lot of different form, but it's just so much, a lot more detailed stuff to express, explain, fully digest. And again, I hope I've been emotional, solid, concrete, and concise in the matter of how I'm saying it. Again, brother, but properly took out himself and all that. You guys tells me how true knowledge to actually understand this, and I'm hoping that I'm best, educating this stuff without repetition. Again, brother, be to the point precise to really do this. So, brother, just hope that I can best educate in the most, suffice to say, full, elaborate, extent of like the actual greater source of information sense, right? But in High Soup, you got Stormfront, should be self-explanatory. Technically, Tangles and Homelander is over not only Kamiko and Starlight and Base. Should be able to pull greater stuff than these people. Barely really takes a heavy scratch from these people until she starts getting jumped. She not only has a mixed narrative, mixed tangle of talk to be at a lot of different points, the most strongest from a different soup in different occasions. Her electricity or her base should just beat these people. She just be physically way beyond A-Train, and no matter what he does, cracked up or not, should not hurt her. And with her quote unquote plasma bolts, that's what it is, electrical slash lightning discharge, kind of like almost telekinetic form of thing, right? She should just be beyond all of them in every capacity. With this being said, now this man Ryan is mainly here because not only of being bloodlusted and full laser Death Star eyes, he should be able to shoot so fast that nobody, not even mixed back A-Train, should be able to scale to. And it's just the way that he was able to entirely full-fledged make this Shorty Stormfront look like unwrapped, tattered fucking meat. It's just GG's for anybody as soon as he gets in the line of sight. There's also an argument when he's full going out, possibly no one could hurt him, but again, mixed argument. Obviously I put Ryan here, but it's just mainly with him in base, and Fetty's very iffy with stuff. Ryan here being a lot more angry, loose cannon, having a deep side case of rage and shit is where the big difference comes from. So yeah, that's kind of what like in comparative instance is supposed to stand for. Now Elite Soup, you have Butcher on Temp V, who not only somewhat scaled mixed back to this man Homelander in physical regard, decently to Soldier Boy, even though he did get all around pushed around, pressed, and beaten by both of them. If it wasn't for the situational contingent in comparison, Butcher all around, all reasonable credit, would be defeated. It's not surprising. Mavis here, not only for her skill perspective in mind, how she stood in comparison, she was second of the 7, was pretty top dog, was able to beat the dog shit out of Stormfront, I think in every capacity for what she was showcased. Even though, yes, in post-training technical arc to Homelander, did showcase in base that she was very much a very top-tier, formidable person. Her skill advantage should put her, even at this point, over Butcher. Soldier Boy is where, you could argue all day with it. I think it's more strong for her post-training to beat him, obviously, for reasons I'm going to get into. But not only was Soldier Boy at the time the second strongest soup, he still reasonably should be, but definitely without a doubt is a guy that, straight, undeniably, being in base, not with the case of his fucking, nuke of a fucking generation, aka pretty much being able to lay off a gamma radiated soup nullifying bomb, because even though you could put that in argumentation, he's already in this like 3-man squad thing, right? This man by himself in base is already ridiculous, and most of the time conventionally he's more doing that, and obviously the fucking bomb takes a very long time and you can't knock him out of it if you have enough force. So Soldier Boy just by himself should just fully suplex, dominate anybody else, and I think just going hand for hand, it's always going to be a contingent fight, but I believe Soldier Boy, because mixed argument for better equipment, mainly in the shield for defense, he would just be able to all around take whatever onslaught Mavis getting, ready to dish out, rock with him to the best corresponding ding for dang for dang, ball for ball, bing for bing level category. He mixed bag kind of skill mildly a little bit better against two different pressing matter of like scalable people, but post training I think it's very much self-evident that she should be stronger. Not only did she do a lot more efficient shit than Soldier Boy, now yes, Homelander you could say was a mixed two double-sided, if not taking it seriously at first, maybe even conflicted, but the fact that she was able to actually draw more blood from him, she took more greater blows, was able to push him back, she actually was able to kind of seemingly somewhat stand sturdy, strong against Homelander. She not only has a better training regimen, she knows better martial arts. Her skill is more firmly on display, a lot more not only in this fight but even previously in seasons, and just has a bunch of different categories of not only cable, not only martial arts to use in co-session, with her very effective, not only training adept ways of punishing, putting down any possible odds that come her way. She's very durable. She has very strong armor, skin, resilient, bad as shit. Every aspect of what she can do. I feel like she would all around buck up with Soulja Boy, bruise through him, and in every sense of the way, in every category, absolutely dominate. I don't think there's any argument that she couldn't. And again, she actually was able to put a lot more of a formidable presence of actually kind of Mortal Kombat duking it out with Homelander, while Soulja Boy, he was scrapping, he was throwing them hands, he was more or less kind of just pushing him. He wasn't like her where she was actually really throwing and colliding with them bitches. It wasn't the same. It's kind of like what I would argue a little bit of a reason why you can mix credit Jordan being where he is, because he actually did do a little bit more formidable duke out with Luke, but then Sam entirely just is like one above him. So that's kind of where we're at with this. But in Omega Jumping Suits, obviously there's a three-man team of three very capable motherfuckers. They're working together. They can jump you. You got obviously his gamma radiation nullifying thing. But then Homelander should still be up, not only because he's physically stronger than all of them, but if he got his hand on any of them and put any greater means to get around in the grand scope of fight, because he ran away because he was a coward, but just trying a full fight, like life or death, I do believe Homelander will be able to take care of one and make it a lot more of an effective cable thing, because when he's just rocking with one of them and just doing different things, he is able to all around best. And because he was getting mixed, jumped, and ambushed, he was getting a 3v1. He did not get a faithful one-on-one. He was just not better. So even though, yes, it is three people, I don't believe these three would just instantly beat him, because everything, Homelander has so many narrative statements. He got so many hails. He got different descriptions, he got different acclaim, all different greater case of matter, capabilities to reasonably credit him as being a higher form dude. He has better heat vision than Billy. He's physically stronger than Billy and this nigga Soulja Boy, aka Ben. He obviously could one-tap Huey, and he's just always seen as top dog, and unless a bunch of context happens, Homelander shouldn't ever be even topped with the boys so far. But yeah, that's my boys power scaling tier list. I hope you guys have enjoyed my great in-depth evaluating and analyzation of multiple different boards of characters and their power scaling and what they could possibly do. Again, this tier list can entirely change. One instance, A-Train can show it, he's not as fast as I thought he was. Shit could entirely change with this row. Homelander, Mary could use a blood manipulation to really get that higher and, maybe be more of a master blood magic sorceress than even Newman. Both of her blood manipulation is crazy. And so they're just on a different, scope of things. But again, I think this is very consistent. I think this makes sense. I think this adds up by the time that I'm recording it. Again, if you disagree, let me know why in the comment section down below. Hope you guys will enjoy it. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, mommy. Love y'all.